Nobody's like law enforcement or anything? Where's this federal agent thing coming into play?
That's what he said. He said I'm a federal agent.
He is or you are?
He said I'm a federal agent. He's filming me while I'm trying to pump my gas.
In an outrageous display of power, an off-duty ICE agent attempted to play the victim after being filmed at a gas station. But the truth is far more damning. What started as a simple recording exploded into violence when the agent shoved a 68-year-old activist to the ground, sparking a legal firestorm. And what local police did next to hold the ICE agent accountable will leave you shocked.
Car, walking around on the side over here. I don't want anybody sticking their camera in my face. I don't know what he's trying to do with this.
So you were just...
I'm pumping my gas here.
The incident begins with what seems like an ordinary moment. An off-duty ICE agent, Adam Sirocco, pumping gas at a local station. But when 68-year-old activist Robert Held starts filming, things take a terrifying turn.
Walking over here, he comes with his camera, he's filming me pumping my gas, starts walking around my car, takes a picture of a license plate, I'm assuming, comes around over here. I said, what are you doing? Why are you filming me? I tried to grab his phone. I don't know who this is.
What should have been a simple exchange turns into a violent confrontation. Sirocco, clearly angered by being recorded, physically grabs Held's phone in an attempt to stop the filming, pushing the situation further. As the struggle continues, Sirocco's aggression reaches its peak when he shoves Held to the ground, a shocking display of force that raises immediate concerns about the agent's restraint. In a matter of seconds, the situation transforms from a minor irritation into full-blown violence.
I filmed him. I think he's a federal agent. Okay. And he got very angry that I was filming him, and he ran up to me, he grabbed me, he threw me on the ground.
This wasn't just about an officer wanting his privacy respected, it was about power and control. What happened in that moment was an attempt to silence a civilian through intimidation and force. Federal agents like Sirocco are supposed to be held to higher standards, yet in this instance, his reaction shows the complete opposite: a lack of accountability and the dangerous assumption that his position gives him the right to dictate how and when he is filmed. It raises the critical question: when did documenting public officials become grounds for physical confrontation?
Are you law enforcement or what's...
No.
No?
No. I'm
You
just
have no federal involvement or
zero.
anything? Okay.
Zero. He threw me on the ground, and he tried to grab the phone out of me.
Okay.
And that's what happened. Because of my adrenaline, I don't know, but there's a witness.
Hey, I'm right here.
Okay. She probably knows better.
I was driving by and stopped at a light, and I saw this old man being tackled to the ground and pulled around like this by that man. And so I started beeping my horn so people would notice.
Okay.
And I said, "Get off him! Why? What are you doing?" And that's the only reason I'm here, is just to tell that.
I got you. Okay.
Local law enforcement didn't hesitate. They saw what happened and took action. The moment the officers arrived on the scene, they immediately recognized the gravity of the situation. Instead of siding with the ICE agent, they launched a full investigation into the incident. And in a rare move, they charged Sirocco with misdemeanor battery, something almost unheard of when it comes to federal officers. This is a game changer. It sends a message that even federal agents can't act with impunity when they step over the line.
How'd you guys get separated? Do you remember?
I guess I got stood up, and people started hollering, so...
You didn't punch him or anything like that? Are you saying he fell to the ground when you're trying to grab the phone? Did you push him to the ground?
Well, maybe in the struggle he went down, but...
With the sole intention of grabbing the phone to delete the pictures.
Try to get him off.
The charges against Sirocco are a direct blow to the notion that federal agents are above the law. The weight of the law is now coming down on him, and this legal action is sparking fierce debate on accountability in law enforcement. Will federal agencies be forced to face the consequences of their unchecked power? What happens here will set the stage for how much longer federal agents can act with the belief that they're immune to consequences.
You guys exchange words or anything like that?
Not initially, not until I came around the corner and kind of hollered at him, why are you filming me? Why are you filming me?
What he said? Okay. But you're saying you obviously initiate the contact with him trying to...
The ICE agency has long been a symbol of unchecked power within federal law enforcement, with a notorious reputation for heavy-handed tactics. And while the public often sees ICE agents as enforcers of the law, what this incident highlights is the dangerous assumption that these agents are somehow beyond reproach. For too long, federal agencies like ICE have operated with minimal oversight, leading to a growing sense of distrust within the communities they serve.
So after this, you start hollering about all that. This guy's alleging you tossed him on the ground.
Yeah, I was trying to grab his phone out of his hand.
Did he get on the ground?
Did he get on the ground?
Did-
Yeah, he made his way to the ground.
Were you on the ground with him?
I wasn't on the ground, no.
He get physical with you at all?
I mean, he was actively resisting. He wouldn't let me get his phone out.
This incident is a clear example of that unchecked power at work. When an agent like Adam Sirocco can push a civilian to the ground just for filming, it's not just about one rogue officer, it's about a system that rewards such behavior and excuses the lack of accountability. What does this say about the culture within ICE? Is this the norm for federal agents, or just an isolated incident? Given the aggressive response by ICE to public scrutiny, we need to ask, why does ICE have so much power with so little oversight?
And I'm glad that, justice will be done. But I don't think he's entered a plea yet.
The moment local law enforcement took action against ICE agent Sirocco, it was clear this wasn't just an isolated incident. It was a rallying point for activists and community leaders who have long been critical of ICE's aggressive tactics. The arrest of a federal agent isn't something we see every day, and it sent shockwaves through both the community and political circles. This act of accountability quickly sparked public outrage and calls for reform across the nation.
I was literally silently filming with my iPhone camera. I said nothing. There were no words that were exchanged.
Activists, already vocal about ICE's overreach, rallied around Robert Held as a symbol of the fight against federal power. Local community leaders, particularly in Chicago and its suburbs, condemned the agent's actions, calling it yet another example of ICE's abuse of power. This incident is not only fueling anti-ICE protests, but it's also reigniting discussions about reforming federal law enforcement practices. The growing public backlash makes it clear people are no longer willing to accept aggressive enforcement tactics without consequence. Communities are standing up, demanding transparency and accountability from their government.
He was like grabbing onto my iPhone. He was on top of me. I was on the sidewalk on my back or side, and I said, "Calm down. You need to de-escalate." I was in shock.
And then there's the subversive tactic that is becoming disturbingly familiar: the hiding of agent identities. Critics argue that ICE agents have gone to great lengths to avoid public identification, believing that it protects them from public backlash. But this only adds fuel to the fire. It's not just about the violence of the encounter, it's about the lack of transparency and the secrecy surrounding it. When law enforcement feels the need to hide its officers from public view, it begs the question, what is ICE trying to hide from the people they are supposed to serve and protect?
The agent, Adam Sirocco of United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, was charged last week with misdemeanor battery, a rare enforcement action by local authorities against a federal agent.
The charges against ICE agent Adam Sirocco have opened a critical chapter in the ongoing battle for accountability in law enforcement. Facing misdemeanor battery charges for physically assaulting Robert Held, Sirocco's case is no longer just about one agent's actions, it's about the message it sends to the entire justice system. For far too long, federal law enforcement agencies have operated without meaningful consequences, leaving citizens to question, are we living in a system where power trumps accountability?
I ended up meeting with the prosecutor and the detective, but the hard work was all done by the police and the state's attorney's office. So the ball's in their court. Individuals obviously don't prosecute criminal cases. That's up to the state's attorney. So they're bringing the case. It's going to be up in court in March.
This trial will set a precedent. If Sirocco is convicted, it will send a message that federal agents are not above the law. But if he walks free, it will reinforce the idea that those in power are untouchable. The public is watching, and what happens in this case could reshape the way law enforcement operates in this country. This is about much more than the actions of one agent. It's about ensuring that those who are meant to protect us are held to the same standards as anyone else. If this case fails to bring justice, it will mark a dark day for accountability and public trust.
So that's why they're hiding their identities, because they do not want people to know who they are. They know that it is deeply unpopular to be with this agency right now.
As the trial date approaches, public sentiment is building. People want justice. They want to see that no one, not even a federal agent, can get away with violence and intimidation. The stakes are high, and what happens here could spark a movement for real reform within federal law enforcement agencies like ICE. This trial is not just about a legal battle, it's about making sure that every citizen's rights are protected and that those who abuse their power face the consequences they deserve. The stakes are clear. Either we hold those in power accountable, or we let unchecked authority continue to erode trust between law enforcement and the public. This isn't just about one agent's actions. It's about ensuring every citizen's right to live without fear of abuse from those sworn to protect them. Now is the time to demand accountability and push for real change in our justice system.